Welcome on, everybody. Welcome back to Some of Everything, the podcast. I am your host, Xavier Marshall, and it is so good to be back with you. I'm trying to figure out if I want to do more episodes and knock them out because it feels like I'm away for far too long. But aside from that, I've actually been getting a little bit of traction on TikTok, so I appreciate y'all, man. You commenting, you liking the videos. I can't express enough how appreciative I am of that. So thank you. It's been brought to my attention that I need to put out where you can find me a little better. So you can find me Some of Everything on YouTube, TikTok, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Deezer. So tap in, check out the episodes. I do shorts and reels on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can just find me at, Xavier Marshall on those. On Instagram, it's SSG_Marshall89. And on TikTok, it's SOE Podcast 26. You'll see me. It's me. Well, it's my avatar in a pink shirt with the same stuff on. So, yeah, man, check it out. I really appreciate y'all getting in and, commenting, talking to me. I get more traction now talking about movies than I did wrestling. So, since there's so many movies coming out, I'm going to stick on this a little bit. Still working on getting drill sergeants in here to talk to y'all. Drill sergeants are busy, so, what can we really say about that? But other than that, we're going to talk today about Mortal Kombat 2. Went and saw it, and I got to weigh in on it, right? So me being old school, I do compare it a little bit to the OGs, but, not as much because that'd be just an unrealistic expectation. And then I'm going to talk to you about some underrated movies that I think should get more attention. And then I'm going to talk to y'all about my top 5. Y'all know I love my top 5s. We're going to talk about my top 5 unappreciated actors, right? So without further ado, let's get going. Like I said, went and saw Mortal Kombat. Loved it. All right. I won't lie to anybody. It was pretty good. Right now, if you watched the first one, you probably think, just like the rest of us did, it was a letdown, right? Mortal Kombat 1, the remake, was a letdown. We didn't understand who this Cole person was, what purpose he served. There was only a few characters, in there. We didn't really get to see much of what they could do. That was not the case with this, right? Mortal Kombat 2 starred Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, which I have my opinions on that. I've said it before. The Miz to me is Johnny Cage. But my issue is when I want somebody in a role, I see them in that role, right? But when I see the actual movie and I see that person that got cast in that role, I can't see anybody else in that role. So it's very hard for me now to put The Miz as Johnny Cage because I saw Carl Urban do it, and Carl Urban did pretty good. I'll give it to him. It's so hard to see Carl Urban as anybody other than Billy Butcher. And if you've watched The Boys, then you know exactly who I'm talking about, right? Because he is a right bastard, okay? The Boys is a great show, by the way. It's on Amazon Prime if you haven't watched it. Give it a go. It's great. I think that was pretty good, though, as a Billy Butcher impersonation. But anyway, so Carl Urban, I can only see him as Billy Butcher, or as Dredd, but that's different. Dredd, the remake in 2012. But yeah, it's hard to unsee him in it now. I wanted it to be The Miz, but it was Carl Urban, and Carl Urban did good. So it's hard for me to unsee it. Example, Antonio Banderas was in line to play Tony Stark in the Marvel movies, right? But, we got RDJ and loved it, right? As much as I love Antonio Banderas, it would have been pretty authentic considering, Tony Stark is traditionally Hispanic. But I just can't see anybody else as Tony Stark other than Robert Downey Jr. And I think it was a perfect casting. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. It's just kind of one of those things that's meant to be. But I'm getting off topic. I say that to say this. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around anybody else playing Johnny Cage aside from Carl Urban since seeing the movie. He did good, right? He did really, really good. But the thing about it is some people can just hide that accent no matter what. Idris Elba, accent. You seen Daddy's Girls? No accent. You would never have known dude was British. You seen Daddy's Little Girls. But then you watch other stuff, he's black Superman, This is what you could have had, bruv. I just checked my watch. I'm so sorry. Um, but yeah, Idris Elba, you would never known that he's British. Carl Urban, you hear him in Dread, it's not there every now and then. But Carl Urban has somewhat of a hard time hiding his accent. So you could hear the accent pop in every now and then, ever so slightly. But hey, he did a good job. So kudos to him. Good job on that. You are now my Johnny Cage, right? So Mortal Kombat, if you're gonna go see it, I'm gonna give you a heads up. It had some real Game of Thrones type stuff, man, because people was getting unalived, and I really didn't see it coming. I won't give many spoilers. I try to give as least amount of spoilers as possible, but don't be getting attached to these people because it's not gonna end how you think. It's not going to end at all. Granted, it took the big bad himself, Shao Kahn, to take them out, but hey, man, an L is an L. You feel me? Uh, the movie started out pretty good. It told the story of Kitana's upbringing, how she got forcibly adopted by Shao Kahn. Dad Jared was putting. I'm gonna tell you this: Shao Kahn was getting hands put on him the entire movie. All right, he was getting just tossed around the entire movie. Jared was putting hands on him, but Jared lost. Shao Kahn was just a savage like that, and he was like, "Hey, man, this is mine." Queen Sindel was in it. She had a very small role. I feel like they could have did a little more with her, but they did what they needed to. Um, get down to, hey, you're my daughter now, so get used to it. Then they did a small little thing about Johnny Cage. They showed one part of a movie he was in. So they're showing the movie in the movie. And Johnny Cage's movie, I think it was Citizen Cage. It was it was bad, yo. It was bad. The movie was bad. His movements was cool, but yeah. And they show him at like a Comic-Con type place with his booth set up. And when nobody coming over there to him, he had the TV set up with the movie playing, but he's kind of washed up. One thing I'll say about this, because I give it a 7, right? I give MK2 a good solid 7 because it was rushed. Not a whole lot of story and prep, just, hey, I need my fade. Come give me that. And then boom, you got your fade. The tournament was somewhat explained by Raiden. The characters are great. The characters are even better in this movie. But you get a little bit of a backstory, like I said, with Kitana, and a little bit of a backstory with Johnny Cage, but you don't really get any build up, after Johnny Cage's little failed attempt at being relevant at the, Comic-Con. Sonya and Raiden popped up. They was like, "Hey, man, we need you to come fight in this tournament." And he was like, "What?" And as you can imagine, he was like, "All right, y'all, this is for a movie because that's the only reason way I would do this." And, it just jumped straight into it. And in most cases, that's okay. In most cases, I'll take it, but I kind of want a little more. You got a full story with Cole in the first one. We didn't care. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe they was like, what, we didn't care about this story in the first one. Like, no, we just didn't care about that character because he wasn't real and nobody wanted him. Granted, the dude who played him, great actor, great martial artist. I enjoy his movies and I liked him. It's just that, who are you? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And compared to the OG version, it's so gory and it's like rough, yo. You like, dang, he really died like that. It was, blood, guts, spitting. Yeah, major pain. But it was, it was good. It was good. I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna give it a 7 because I did want a little more story. I expected more, but I'm not unhappy about what I got. So good job. With that being said, good job. Can't wait until the third one. And the wardrobe they did on this one, A-okay with me. A-okay. They had new characters like Jade. Noob Saibot was awesome. And again, Scorpion, man. I gotta go watch the movie, right? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. So right now, the first, technically the second because Super Mario Bros. Came out, but the first live action real video game adaptation into a movie, Mortal Kombat 2, doing pretty good. And I got my popcorn bucket. I'll bring it next time. I don't know why I didn't bring it this time, but I got my Shao Kahn helmet popcorn bucket. So that was pretty cool. Street Fighter, you got some work to do. Right? You got to run for your money. Let's see how you do, man. I don't know. I would have normally given it to you basing it off the first Mortal Kombat, but I don't know. They might have your number. So, yeah, I guess we're going to see. Okay. So, yeah, solid 7. Go see Mortal Kombat 2. But that's the 7 is just for me because I wanted more story. Other than that, the action was good. The fight scenes were great. The actors they picked did really good. Even Liu Kang put on some meat. You're like, how you supposed to end up with Katana? She looked like she's stronger than you. But then you watch the movie like, oh, snap. Liu Kang done beefed up a little bit. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. Go watch it. So, but now we're going to get to the big subject. That was my rating on Mortal Kombat. We're going to get to this next subject because to me, these are things I feel strongly about. Now, this is just my opinion. My opinion. And it's based off what I hear from others and the ratings I see. All right. So don't be like, this guy just telling me this. No. This is what I've seen and what I hear when I talk to people about these movies. They're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So that's why I'm bringing these movies up. All right. These movies deserve far more than they get, far more love, far more appreciation, far more views than they get. And I'm sticking to this. As my boy Chemo has said, this is the hill I'm down. All right. I'm down on this hill and there's nothing you can say or do. These movies, to me, deserve so much more recognition than they got. All right. I already talked to you about some of them. All right. I'll talk to you about Page Master, Macaulay Culkin, and Christopher Lloyd, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with Sean Connery, Bushwhacked, just to name a few, because those are slept on, and I'm standing on the hill again. But these next few movies, like people haven't heard of or watched and just like didn't give it a fair shot, and I just think they deserve more. So starting off with a movie that a lot of people haven't heard of is Warriors of Virtue. All right, now I'm gonna be real with you. I am partial to martial arts and kung fu movies. Right? I love action movies. I love martial arts movies. I love them. And Warriors of Virtue, I don't even remember the first time I saw it. I don't remember how I came across this movie. I can't tell you. I have no idea. But it's a kung fu movie that came out around May of '97, and it's it's cheesy, yes, but an awesome cheesy. Like it's a good cheesy, right? Think of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with no real plan, but a decent story, right? So there's people in suits, and you'll understand why I say that in just a second. So it stars Mario the Didia, young little kid, Angus McFadden, which most of you might not know. Angus McFadden. I don't know. He was in Saw 3. He was also in Equilibrium with Taye Diggs and Christian Bale, which another very slept on movie. If you haven't seen Equilibrium, maybe I'll talk to you about that in another episode. That's a very good movie. Gun Fu is what they do in that movie. But I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. And he was also in Braveheart. Now, he plays the big bad, Komodo. His name is Komodo. And the young kid, Mario. Mario was in Jack with Robin Williams and Disney's Under Wraps, that Mummy movie. You ever seen that? So the original Under Wraps, because they redid it. But yeah, but he plays a young kid named Ryan Jefferson, and Ryan Jefferson is bullied because he has a brace on his leg. Think Forrest Gump, except just on one leg. And he really wants to play football and be popular and have a bunch of friends. He has one friend named Chucky, and yes, that's his actual name in the show, Chucky. But he's the water boy on the football team, and the game is up, the big game of the football team. He goes, "Hey man, you need to watch this, watch that." And he's telling the quarterback, "Hey, check this out. When he does this, you need to do that." And the quarterback, spits the water on his broken leg, and I'm like, "That's disrespectful. You got to see me if you spit on me." But he goes through all of that, and then the quarterback's like, "Oh, this dude's right." So he does what Ryan says, and they win the game, but gets no credit. And Chucky's like, "Hey man, that was a good call. You called it. They won because of you." Ryan's all sad, and then they're riding past Ryan and Chucky on their bikes, the football players. And Chucky, Chucky was a brother, first of all. Chucky's the only black dude in the show. I don't know why that's relevant, but just thought I'd tell you. Because when I describe what he was saying and how he was saying it, you're going to be like, why is he doing it like that? That's why. So he goes, "Hey, man, you ain't going to say thank you?" He was like, "Ryan's the reason you won." And they're like, "Really? We thought you came up with it." The dude's name is Brad. "Really, Brad? We thought you came up with that play." He goes, "Nah, it was a good call, man. Too bad about your leg. You probably would have been real good." And he was like, "Why don't you come hang out with us? We do this little tradition. We're going to go do it." And Ryan's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go. I want to play." And Chucky's like, "No, hey, man, that's not a good idea." But Ryan's like, "No, man, I want to be their friend." I don't know why I'm talking like that, but needless to say, Ryan and Chucky show up. The initiation, I guess, what you say, is they're in this like sewage tunneling system. They're in this thing, and you have to walk across this pipe, and under them is the swirling vortex of terror of water, right? So you got to walk across, sign your name on the wall, and then go back. Ryan has a bum leg, right? So Brad goes across and like, hey man, you want to be down? You could do it. He's like, watch this, I'm gonna do it. So he goes across. He's like, yeah, everybody celebrating. Chucky's like, hey man, let's make like Tom and Cruise. And that's actually what he said word for word. I didn't just make that up. And Ryan's like, shut up, Chucky, I can do it. He did it. And Chucky's like, hey man, you're not him. So I was like, ooh, burn. So Ryan goes across. Some magical earthquake happens. He slips off, falls into the vortex of terror, and he awakens in this strange new world. Well, world and land, I'll say. But the place is called Tao, Hell's Paradise, but not Hell's Paradise. If you watch anime, you understand why I said that. But the place is called Tao, and yeah, he arrives there. They call him a newcomer because he's not from there. He's got like jacket on and backpack, and I'm like, what does this do? And everything just goes wrong. Komodo has his army, and they're like about to kidnap him, but some mysterious figure comes out, beats the brakes off of these soldiers, and takes off. And then Alicia, she comes in. She's one of the people in the tower. She has her little powers, whatever. She's like, who are you? What happened? And there's this book. I'm skipping a lot of stuff. I'm giving you all the basis of the movie. There's this book, right? It's like a Necronomicon. I'm just playing. It's not Necronomicon. It's a magical book that tells you how to basically live forever, because Komodo is mining the life force from the land to keep himself young and immortal. And so, like, we need the book. Only the newcomer can read the book because he brought it. So they're trying to find Ryan so that he can read the book. And Komodo's mean. And yeah. We'll get to the point, though. The Tao is protected by 5 legendary warriors, right? And they use the forces of nature as weapons: wood, earth, fire, metal, and water. Yeah, I had to count just to make sure I don't say nothing twice. But it turns out these legendary warriors are kangaroos. I need y'all to watch this movie. All right. If I'm describing it to you, you're like, that sounds familiar. Then yeah, the legendary warriors are kangaroos. So that's why I said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. People in kangaroo outfits, and they are putting in work. You know what I'm saying? It's really good. One of the kangaroos is the one that saved Ryan, exiled himself because he unalived somebody. He was like, I shouldn't have never done that, because he was the virtue, they all have virtues, warriors of virtue. He was a virtue of benevolence. And so he was like, I did that, but I killed. I'm ashamed. And everybody was like, hey man, you did what you had to do. Da, 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 da. So it's a good movie. I think it's about 2 hours, but it's worth the watch. Definitely check it out. And if you do, tap in with me in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. I do really respond to every comment on TikTok, on YouTube, on all of the platforms I'm on. I do actually respond to these comments. So yeah, go on there, link in, chop it up with me. You know, hopefully I see you in there. But Warriors of Virtue, very much underrated, very much untalked about. That's not even a real word, but I made it up. Y'all like that? But yeah, check it out. Warriors of Virtue. Yeah, legendary kangaroos. Anyway, moving on. And if you know what movie that reference is from, put it in the chat. Moving on. Next, and I'm going to talk about this one because the second of the animated versions is out now. It's about to be able to be purchased tomorrow. I think actually it comes out tomorrow to be purchased at home. Super Mario Brothers. A lot of people like know of this movie. Well, I won't even say a lot of people. A few people know of this movie, but it just wasn't appreciated or given a fair shot. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. The movie was bad. It was bad, but it was like bad as in we didn't know it was bad, because watching it at that time, it was really awesome because it was a video game turned into a movie, and that really wasn't done as much back in the day. But this came out in 93, if I'm not mistaken, 1993, I think February or something of 93, and it stars Bob Hoskins. So if you don't know who Bob Hoskins is, he was in Unleashed with Jet Li. He was detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And if you've seen Hook with Robin Williams and Julia Roberts and Dustin Hoffman, I could do this all day, y'all. He plays Smee, Captain Hook's first mate, Smee. So yeah, that's who Bob Hoskins is. It also has Dennis Hopper, who was in Waterworld and Hoosiers and freaking Speed. He was in Speed, yo. He was the guy, you know, doing the bombs and stuff in Speed. So come on, you gotta know who Dennis Hopper is. Rest in peace. Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins. Rest in peace. And I lost my train of thought. And because I do this on the fly, y'all. Okay, I don't think I got this scripted. Some of the stuff I have notes on, but I just do this on the fly. So I apologize. But John friggin' Leguizamo is in this movie, right? John Leguizamo plays Luigi. Dennis Hopper plays Bowser, and Bob Hoskins plays Mario. So I love John Leguizamo. I love his movies. I love his acting. I love his personality. And if you do not know who John Leguizamo is, shame on you, right? He's got some pretty good movies, right? But just to name a few, he was in John Wick 1 and 2. There's Aurelio. And if you for somehow don't remember who I'm talking about, he's the one that punched old dude's son, because he brought in the car to his shop. And without getting off subject, that's who Aurelio is. He repairs and sells cars. He was in Encanto as Bruno, and as we all know, we don't talk about Bruno, so we're going to move forward. He was in Repo Man, and another movie that was pretty slept on that doesn't get enough appreciation is Spawn. He was in Spawn as the Violator. John Leguizamo was the clown. And a lot of people don't know that, but I think that's awesome because you would never know that he was in Spawn, but he was the clown. He was Violator the clown. And one of my favorite movies he's in, because I like plays. People think that's kind of weird when they see me. Like, you like musicals and plays? I do. And one of the movies he was in is a reimagining of the play Romeo and Juliet. So he was in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and he played the role perfectly. So yeah, anyway. But this movie is exactly what it says, but it's real world and just craziness, right? So they are brothers, as always. They are plumbers for real in this, though. And instead of being Princess Peach, it's Daisy. And yeah, I kind of like how they made it Daisy and not Peach, because everything's, peaches. But yeah, Dennis Hopper, like I said, he's Bowser, but he's not like a turtle. He's just a regular person, but with just crazy hair. You gotta watch it, because if I describe it to you, it's gonna be like weird. It's like kind of blonde fins going back, and he's in a suit. But he's Bowser. The Goombas, the Goombas there's Goombas in it, but I don't think they're turtles. It's hard to describe them. I'll put a picture right here, or maybe I'll put it right here. I'll put a picture right here, so you can see what the Goombas look like. It'll go right here, because it's wild, man. Yeah, bless their hearts, they tried, but you got to check it out. I don't even want to tell you a lot about it, but just go watch it. Premise of the story, though, I will give you, is they're plumbers that go on site to do something. Luigi sees Daisy, falls in love immediately. She needs help, so they travel across the world into a different dimension, try to help. And yeah, it's Yoshi's in it. He's like an actual little baby dinosaur, so there's that. So yeah, give it a shot. It's Super Mario Brothers. It's them two, and they're plumber costume, one green, one red, like this. And yeah, you should check it out. Super Mario Brothers. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper. But yeah. So moving forward, though, my favorite movie on here is one that I just don't think anyone has ever really seen. I don't think anybody that lives outside of my household has seen it, because I've talked to people about it and like they haven't seen it. Now, a lot of people hear that there's like black movies that you got to see, right? Like you have to see Friday, you have to see Harlem Nights, you have to see Vampire in Brooklyn, you have to see this, you got to see that, right? I think this should be on that list as black movies you should see. And I'm not trying to make this a racial thing, but it's like a all black cast, right? Imagine The Harder They Fall, okay? Yeah, except not as serious, because this movie stars Sinbad. And no, I'm not talking about Shazam, although yes, that is a real movie, and I have it on VHS somewhere. Don't make fun of me because of it, because I do have a VHS and I do have VHS tapes. Judge your mama, not me. All right, y'all got me all flustered because people really be coming for me like, you got a VHS? Yes, I do. I can program a VCR, so I'm smarter than you are. So there. But anyway, it is a Western, and it's like actual, like real, based on real, well, not based on, but it has like real characters that were existing, like Nat Love. Everybody knows Nat Love, and again, he was also somebody that was in The Harder They Fall, which is a great movie. Love that movie. And then another character called the Undertaker, who was a real person, but no, not WWE version of Undertaker, like a real human dude. Um, and yeah, it has outlaws, gunslingers. It's really, really good. Slept on, but it is a Sinbad movie. It's called The Cherokee Kid. And the movie premises is Sinbad and his brother, Robert Townsend or Rich, I can't remember his name, but they're kids, and this dude named Bloomington or Bloomingdale is a rich white dude who's very powerful and trying to build railroads and take people's land. Is harassing their mother. She tells them to hide. He kills her after she gives him a scar on his face. He kills her, and the two kids see it, and like they're trying to escape. The brother tries to kill Bloomington, but he runs away and he gets killed. And Sinbad is the younger brother who runs, and finally collapses into this woman's arms. And she's the wife of a pastor, so he's raised by a pastor. However, he still has vengeance on his mind. So he's like, I'm raised by this pastor, but I still want my revenge. You know, they shot and killed my mom. They shot and killed my brother. I want my lick back, right? So he grows up. He finally become like this big dude, Sinbad. And he's like, I got to go and, get my revenge. Turn the other cheek, boy. Eye for an eye. Blah, blah, blah. But he's terrible. Like, he's clumsy, he's goofy. He's Sinbad. But he ends up getting help. He gets help from Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds, rest in peace. His name is Otter Bob in there. So, he got a bunch of otter skins. He's a very good hunter. He goes throwing knives and rifles. And, he teaches Isaiah. His name is Isaiah in the movie. Sinbad's Isaiah. Teaches him how to hunt and survive and everything, right? But Otter Bob gets killed by the people who are looking for Isaiah. And so there's that. Spoiler, sorry. And, later on in the movie, he encounters Nat Love in prison. And Nat Love is played by Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. If you don't know who Ernie Hudson is, he's in Ghostbusters. But that's like the first movie I can think of with him in there. He's in other movies, but Ghostbusters. Which, if you've seen that man today, you would not think he is the age he says he is. Great shape. I hope I look like that when I get older. But anyway, yeah. It's a very good cast, very good movie. It came out in 96. And I know y'all starting to see a pattern of me with these movies I'm recommending because they're a little bit seasoned. But still, these movies deserve much more than what they got. They deserve a lot of love. They are classics, and classics are how we get some of the things we have today. Like, Cherokee Kid walked, so the harder they fall could run. Or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, it's very good. Give it a watch. I had to purchase it on Amazon Prime. Don't regret my purchase at all. But it's a very good movie, The Cherokee Kid. Next is something that was not so much more recent, but around the all these movies are old. All right, I don't need y'all coming from me. The old movies are better. The movies today just aren't really what they were, and I stick to that. But anyway, it's called A Perfect Getaway. Now, this is a good thriller, right? And I'm not necessarily a huge fan of thrillers, but if I see a good thriller, I'm gonna talk about it. A Perfect Getaway is very slept on and a very good thriller movie. It stars Mila Jovovich, which Resident Evil as Alice, The Fifth Element as Lilo Dallas Multipass, Hellboy the remake with David Harbour, right? Yeah, that was her, right? Yeah, and Steve Zahn, which he was a daddy daycare, National Security, and Sahara. Gotta pull the Panama. We thought we were in Panama. Good movie. I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah, and he was also in the recent comedy version of Anaconda. So yeah, and it also stars Timothy Oliphant. He was in I Am Number 4 as the guardian person of Number 4. He was in Hitman as the hitman. Santa Clarita Diet as the husband of Drew Barrymore, and he was also in Justified. Like the cowboy lawman. And he was in Scream 2, but I don't like Scream. I think. Never mind. Anyway, I won't get into that. But I love that guy though. Very underrated actor. I think he deserves a lot more than what he gets, but that's a different conversation for a different time. But in the movie, also hidden really well. You know, if you watch it, you wouldn't really pay attention to it back then. Chris Hemsworth is in this movie. Small role, but he's in it. And, you know, the character he plays is actually very fitting for him. You would think that's how he is in real life, but he's actually a really nice guy, apparently. But yeah, he's like this cocky a-hole, you know, with his couple. So there's three different couples and they're interacting with each other. The couples are newlyweds in Hawaii. And it gets really crazy, really, really quickly because they're on this trail and reception is like rough to get in and out. But then they get notification that it's not necessarily safe because on the mainland, I don't remember what it's called, but outside the trail, wherever the, you know, people are, this couple was killed by another couple. And they get word of this. The three couples get word of this. So now everybody's like uneasy. They're looking at each other. Trust is starting to slip away. And they're like, you did it. You know? Well, nobody's accusing anybody, but they're like very weary. So like this guy pulls out an axe, but turns out he's just trying to like chop wood to make fire, you know? So it's very good, right? But this couple is a serial killer couple. Like they kill couples and then take over their lives. They dress like them, act like them. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It's crazy, but it's a very good movie. I mean, it came out in 2009. So there's a 2000 movie. So yeah, leave me alone. But if you like thrillers, you'll like that. And speaking of thrillers, this one's not talked about enough because it shows the range of this actor that nobody thought he had. The Number 23 stars Jim Carrey. And like I said, it shows his range, his acting capabilities, his talent as an actual performer. It's not weird faces. It's not impressions and jokes and wild, crazy behavior. I mean, well, okay, it is wild behavior, but not like in a goofy way. It's like legit, like it's real, yo. And it shocked me when I first saw it. It came out in 2007. Oh, 07. And yes, that's the year I graduated high school. Judge your mama, not me. Anyway, it's a psycho thriller about a man who becomes obsessed with the number 23 Enigma. Which cool because he played Edward Nygma in Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. Enigma. Anyway, and the director also. I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. But after he reads a very odd book that his wife got him for his birthday, he starts to see similarities between the character in the book and him. And he starts to think, like, maybe this is me. Like, what's happening? And he starts to see the number 23 and everything. Like, patterns, shapes, specific amount of times a noise is heard, steps taken, miles walking. Like, every little thing, like, adds up to 23. Adds up perfectly. It's crazy, but it's really good. And it drives him crazy. And there's a big plot twist at the end. And I won't spoil it, but you should definitely watch it. It's a wild one for it to be a Jim Carrey movie. And like I said, it really shows how capable he is as an actor in his range. And to say I'm not just this goofy dude who, you know, makes faces and becomes the Grinch. You know, I can do this. So watch. And that's exactly what he did, right? And I messed with it. It was a good movie, especially for a psycho thriller. So check that one out. Now, I'm going to give a couple more. Movies. Then we're going to, you know, plop forward into my top fives. Y'all know I love. Gotta have my top fives. But I'm gonna talk about this one, and then I'll give you a couple more. Right. So this is another oldie, right? But it's still good, and it came out in '94, and it stars Alec Baldwin. I wonder how many people know him. Yeah, we'll see. But Alec Baldwin, Penelope Ann Miller, Peter Boyle, love that guy. Tim Curry, the legend himself. A lot of people don't know who Tim Curry is. That's crazy to me. He played the original It. He was in a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, you know, he played that. Yeah. Anyway, he played him. He was in a Scary Movie 2 as the guy who brought them all together. He goes, wet, Dwight. You know, he's him. And he also played in Legend. And that's one thing a lot of people don't know. He was in Legend with Tom Cruise, a really old movie. He was the devil in Legend. So if you ever seen Legend and you didn't know, he's the devil. Kind of like people didn't know that Dave Grohl was the devil in Tenacious D: The Pick of Destiny. But again, off topic. I'm sorry. Sir Ian McKellen is also in it. Magneto, and John Lone is also in this movie. it is actually considered a superhero movie, right? So it's a superhero film that you would picture Dick Tracy and Batman Brave and the Bold, right? Which apparently they'll be making a Batman Brave and the Bold movie soon with the remaking of the DC universe. So we're going to see. But it follows the First World War, and Alec Baldwin is pretty much like a kingpin type dude and like a warlord in Tibet. Which you hear this, you're like, Tibet, like, yeah, like Mongols and stuff like that. The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy. I'll talk about that movie too. Anyway, but he gets visited by this holy dude, and his name is, he's called the Tolkien, and he has like some pretty cool psychic abilities. And he offers Alec Baldwin a chance to learn and to change his ways to become like a better person. So he teaches him how to have these powers himself and, you know, how to use them properly. So when the Tibetan warlord tamed Alec Baldwin in this, you know, he became kind of like a disciple type deal. But he it was in Tibet, so obviously they couldn't like keep in contact or whatever. But it's like it's a lot of Genghis Khan references in this, and that's pretty much the gist of that. Like everything is Genghis Khan, Tibet, Mongol warrior, evil person type deal. But obviously not in that time frame because I said First World War. Genghis Khan was way before. Anyway, Alec Baldwin moves back to New York and, you know, gets back to his former life as a wealthy playboy, Batman. But he's secretly a vigilante, Batman. But he's known as the Shadow, right? Batman. So his power is he has the psychic abilities. He can like kind of morph and like alter his face so people don't recognize him. He has a red scarf and a hat and like a cool trench overcoat type deal, which is where I'm getting like, you know, Dick Tracy. And he's also like dual wielding pistols, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you definitely got to check it out. But another cat from the Mongol area, Tibet area, whatever, comes up and he's like the descendant of Genghis Khan. His name is Shiwan Khan. And he hears about Alec Baldwin, you know, from when he was a warlord. He was like, I looked up to you. I was a fan of yours. You were ruthless. Get back to that. Like he wants to go back and like rule the world with him because he also became a student of the Tolkien, the Tolku. And, you know, he's like, oh, you were a student of the Tolku. He's like, yes. And the Tolku had a really cool magic knife. And if you could master the knife, then you completely mastered your powers. Alec Baldwin couldn't master the knife, so he just took what he learned and he went off. Shiwan Khan did master the knife, ish. So he brought it with him and he goes, I took it out of the Tolku when I stabbed him in his heart. So he betrayed the Tolku. That made Alec Baldwin mad. Now they're at odds. Shiwan Khan comes, and Lamont Cranston, by the way, is Alec Baldwin's name. But the Tolku comes, I keep saying the Tolku. Shiwan Khan comes, and he gets Sir Ian McKellen in the movie to build a machine that allows him to control the minds of pretty much everybody in New York and almost all over the world. So X-Men, Cerebro type of deal, which is funny because Magneto's in this movie. And Tim Curry is like his stooge. He was like, hey, go do this for me. Go do that for me. And Tim Curry's like, all right, my lord. You know, he goes, he doesn't actually say that, but he, you know, he goes and he does that. Lamont Cranston and Shiwan Khan both are trying to win the love of Ian McKellen's daughter, which is Penelope Ann Miller, and very beautiful person. And it's like old school, like they have the cigar and like the long end of a stick type deal, kind of how the third Mummy looks with Brendan Fraser and like that setting, or like in Life when he was like, I'm gonna have the boom boom room, how they all dressed like that in the Harlem Nights. But yeah, it's a superhero movie and it's kind of slept on, and it makes me want to do a segment of slept on superhero movies or superheroes movies that people didn't know were superhero movies. I'll do that. Let me know in the chat what the next segment should be, like superhero movies or, you know, top action movies or whatever. Yeah. But moving forward from that, but The Shadow, yeah, you should check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. It's old school, but it's still pretty good. One of Alec Baldwin's best. So, moving forward to the last two movies, I'm going to combine these last two movies because they star the same person and they're pretty similar, and they came out like 1 year after another, right? This movie is called, I'm going to do this one first, The Sixth Man. The Sixth Man is what this is called, and it stars Marlon Wayans. And if you don't know who that is, he was in White Chicks. He was in Don't Be a Menace. He's in Scary Movie as Shorty. So that's Marlon Wayans. And yeah, it's Kadeem Hardison, the Casey Undercover, Vampire in Brooklyn as the ghoul in a different world. He was in that show as well. He was like, please, baby, please marry me. If y'all ever watched it. Showing my age for real. But yeah, him and Vampire Brooklyn was very good. And this is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies. If you've never seen it, you should definitely check it out. I'll talk about that in a later episode. Vampire Brooklyn. Very good. Kadeem Harrison, Eddie Murphy, John Witherspoon, Angela Bassett. Very good. So yeah, please stay tuned to that because there's a lot of good movies that a lot of people don't know. Like Stay Tuned. Stay Tuned is actually a good movie. John Ritter, I think, was in that. So yeah. Anyway, David Paymer, I believe I'm saying his name right. Paymer, who was also in it. He's also in Bait with Jamie Foxx. That's a very good movie. And Carpool with Tom Arnold. A lot of people don't remember that movie. That was a crazy movie. And he was also in Payback, just to name a few. But this movie is about a college basketball team called the Huskies, and they're doing pretty good. And Kadeem Hardison and Marlon Wayans are brothers on the team. Kadeem Hardison is a star of the team, and they are in the middle of a game, right? And they are killing it, just doing great. And Kadeem Hardison goes up for a dunk, and all of a sudden he just has like a heart attack. So they finish the game. Marlon Wayans is like, hey, I'm on my way to go see my brother. But Paymer is like, in the movie, he's like, hey, man, he died. So the team like gets into this drought. They start to just suck. It's really bad. Everybody's all depressed. And he just wants his brother to come back so bad. And he does. Comes back as a ghost, and he starts possessing certain members of the team in the middle of the games, like cheating for him. So as the movie says, there's a sixth man on the team, and it's Kadeem Hardison. And like Marlon falls in love with this girl, and they're doing really good to make it to the championship. It's like, hey man, we got to do this on our own because Kadeem Hardison's character starts doing a little too much. He's like, y'all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I did this. I'm the reason we're here. And nobody else can see him except Marlon Wayans. So everybody thinks Marlon is crazy. So he's like, hey, man, you tripping. We just became that good. And so finally he was like, hey, man, show him. And then he just shows them. So like, yeah, they like want him to not possess them, to let them win the game. And it's very good. It was a tearjerker for sure. It got me in my fifis a little bit. So yeah, it came out in 97. And The Sixth Man, you should check it out. And after that, in 98, Marlon Wayans came back with another one starring him and David Spade and Matthew Lillard, which everybody should know who David Spade is. Dickie Roberts' child star, anything with Adam Sandler. The Wrong Missy, he was in The Wrong Missy as the main character. Matthew Lillard, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. And he also does the voices for Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. He's in Daredevil right now, Born Again. He's in Five Nights at Freddy's. He's in Scary Movie, Lord have mercy. Scream, he's in the first Scream. But yeah, Matthew Lillard, he's in it. And he's making a huge comeback too, because I think he's about to be in the DCU. He's already in Marvel right now. I think he's about to be in the DCU in the upcoming movie that they're doing. But anyway, Rip Torn is in it also, RIP to him. And if you don't know who Rip Torn is, well, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. And that is all I will say about that. But this movie is about a college student again, Marlon Wayans, that is trying to, pass his big test. He's trying to get into this really prestigious job, but he's broke. He's like dead broke. He's got like nothing to his name. He donates like 4 pints of blood, 4 vials of, man production, like in one day. Because he goes back and he's pretending to be different people so he can keep donating blood because he can't afford to go to school and he can't afford to do a lot of things he wants to do in his school to get the job he wants to get. So he's like killing himself, right? So he's trying to make money any way he can. So he sees this ad that this scientist puts in, and it's like, we'll pay you this much to be a test subject, basically. And he goes, now he's exhausted because he works like 24 hours straight every single day. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but he really does work a lot. So he goes in there and he's asleep in the class as they're telling, as a doctor's telling him the side effects. And people are getting up, people are leaving. And then there's one guy, he's like contemplating, he goes, I need this money. And then he's like, you also have like rectal issues. The dude got up. And And so after the guy is done telling him everything, he looks up and it's just Marlon Wayans, but he sleeps, so he didn't hear any of the side effects. And he was like, hey, thank you so much for staying. So glad you were going to volunteer. He goes, yeah, how much do I get paid? So he's explaining the rules of the drug, right? Like inject this much, only this amount of times on this time, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, how much do I get paid? So he got the money. It was a good amount of money too. And he's taking the drug and the side effects kicks in. And the movie is called Senseless. I did all that to say that the movie is called Senseless. And Marlon Wayans' character in the movie's name is Daryl. And Daryl takes the drug and it enhances all of his senses. Sight, sound, taste, smell, feel. It enhances all of them. He's going crazy. Imagine Superman when he was a kid. And like all of a sudden he can just see and hear all this stuff and he's going nuts. The side effects are killing him. Like it's very funny. I'm doing this because if you watch the movie, you'll understand. But it's very good. And his arch nemesis in the movie is David Spade. But David Spade comes from money. And Matthew Lillard is his hockey punk rock roommate. But he's on a full scholarship for hockey, so they don't have to worry about it. So, Daryl has to do all this to make money, and that's what he's going through. So he tries to use the drug to get ahead, like to get into a fraternity, to pass the test, even though he failed because he can smell everything he doesn't want to smell. He's very sensitive to touch, let you do with that with what you will. And he's trying to get the job working under Rip Torn, but he falls in love with this girl, but the girl turns out to be Rip Torn's daughter, and David Spade is actually like a top prospect to get the job. I think the job is like an accountant or a broker. But yeah, it's very good. It is a very good movie. Very funny, as you can imagine. And yeah, I think it's worth the try. So give it a shot. The Sixth Man and Senseless, two very good movies. Come right out, one right after the other, and worth the watch. Two movies that I don't think get talked about enough, especially in the form of comedies, which comedies don't get the justice they are due anyway. So yeah, Marlon Wayans, he never misses. So check that out. So, but those are my underrated and underappreciated and just unknown movies. So with that, I'm going to cap this off with my top 5 underappreciated actors. I love my top 5s. I'm going to always have my top 5s. And if you have a top 5 underappreciated actors, put in the comments. Let me know what you think, chat. And if you agree with what I'm saying, put in the comments. If you don't, put in the comments. Like I said, I interact with all the comments. I respond to all of them, legitimately all of them. Because I appreciate y'all and I want y'all to know that I do, right? So, yeah, we'll see. But let's get down to business. What movie is that from? Anyway, number 1. My number 1 right now, these are not in any particular order, but this is just how I jotted them down. But my number 1 most underappreciated actor is Bokeem Woodbine. Brother hasn't done a lot, but he's definitely done enough to people for people to know who he is and for him to get his flowers, right? I know y'all know who he is because of the movies that I'm praying that people have watched, right? And then y'all put a face. I'm gonna say the name, then y'all put the face with it. He was in Life as Can't Get Right. That opened the door to a lot of people. They probably realize who he is now. He was in a remake of Total Recall with Colin Farrell, Jessica Biel. His character wasn't necessarily a big one, but he was the big bald black dude who was his friend who betrayed him in Total Recall. He was in the technically the 4th installment. There's 4 movies technically of Riddick, because you have Pitch Black, Dark Matter, Chronicles of Riddick. Then you got Riddick. Yeah, so he was in the 4th installment of Riddick with Batista and his team. No, he was a cop. Well, one of the cops. But anyway, he was in Riddick. He was in Spencer Confidential and Jason's Lyrics. And a more recent movie, I think it was in like 2024 or 5, was Old Dads. Old Dogs. That's what Tim Allen and John Travolta, I think. But Old Dads. It's on Netflix, but he's in that one. But he definitely doesn't get talked about enough or seen enough. And I just think he needs more opportunity to show himself off and show his capabilities. And, I'm going to give him his flowers. So Bokeem Woodbine, I appreciate you. Thank you. And I hope to see you in some more stuff. Number 2, this is going to hit a lot of people pretty hard, but I think Hayden Christensen, he deserves a lot more. I hate when actors are treated wrongfully for movies that they played in because they played the part, right? I mean, he was given the script. You said, do this, and he did, right? We took him for granted. Star Wars fans are something different, right? And the only ones that are worse than Star Wars fans are anime fans. And that sucks because I'm both. I'm a Star Wars fan and I'm an anime fan. So I can tell you, my people, yo, what are we doing? Like, we're destroyed that little kid who played young Anakin, destroyed Hayden Christensen, who deserved a lot more. If you don't know who Hayden Christensen is, though, he was in Jumper as, the Jumper. um, yeah, Hayden Christensen got so much heat, and he made other movies, but after that he was like, you know what, I'm done with this. And only after that happened did people realize like how needed he was, how good he was, and they begged him to come back. And he did. He came back, and man, was it to come back. Came back in Obi-Wan as Darth Vader, and did we love it? Yes, we did. But he was in some good movies, you know what I'm saying? Like Jumper was actually a good movie. Slept on, but good movie. He was also in Takers. So yeah, he's done some good. He's underappreciated. He got, mistreated by the fans, and, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on us. Hayden Christian, we thank you for what you've done as far as entertainment. So that's my number 2. Number 3, I'm going to say this name and ain't nobody going to know what I'm talking about, but Michael Shannon. I hope people know who that is, right? Because, look, I knew this guy was awesome when I first saw him in Kangaroo Jack. He was like Kangaroo Jack. And I still quote the line he says. He has a lot of lines, but there's one line he says in that movie that I still quote over and over in so many situations. And it is, do not agitate me. Do not agitate. He's in Kangaroo, and he is the Australian dude. I can't remember the Australian dude's name, but he was in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter as one of the vampires, like the one who killed his mother. He was that one. And he's walking Australia. He goes, I didn't come here to get my contract messed up by some bloody roo. And, Michael Shannon's like, I came here to the sphincter of the planet. Do not agitate me. He goes, we had a contract. Do not agitate me. I just like his look. I like his sound. He's awesome. He played General Zod in The Man of Steel with this is a new Superman, Henry Cavill. He's talking his man. I think he was like, I was bred to be a warrior. Kal-El, where were you raised? On a farm? And he, goes nuts. And he was in The Shape of Water, Nuremberg, Knives Out as he had the cane. And he was trying to help his pops with the books and everything. He was in Bullet Train as the big bad Bullet Train that made him that giant, was it Russian? The giant Russian. And the night before, he was the angel who helped them, with the party and everything. I mean, he's done some good movies, but he still just isn't celebrated enough for me personally. I just think he deserves a lot more appreciation and notice, right? Because he slept on. To be in the movies he's been in, very slept on. Michael Shannon. Number 4. This one might throw some people off, right? Because she's done a lot and she's been recognized for it, but not by us as fans. But Regina King, this woman, this beautiful, funny, wonderful, talented, and just awesomely wholesome and perfectly generous and kind-hearted person of Regina King. She's such a sweet soul, and I just love her so much. I say this like I know her, but coming up on the movies that she's been in, I've watched a lot of her movies. She's such a solid person, you know what I'm saying? And as much as she's been recognized for, award-wise, she just isn't celebrated enough. You hear people talk about these other actors and actresses and whatnot, but you rarely hear Regina King's name in the conversation, right? You hear Angela Bassett, like, oh, yes. You hear Alfred Woodard, like, oh, yes. Oprah, yes, right? But you don't hear Regina King in there, and we need to, all right? We need to. She voices the characters in the Boondocks. She gave us Watchmen, the TV series. She, I think, directed, produced, and starred in it, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe just directed. But she stars in it, and that got an Emmy, I believe. She was in Poetic Justice with Janet Jackson and Tupac. Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube, Omar Gooding, and Morris Chestnut, and Lawrence Fishburne, directed by John Singleton. Great classic. One of the movies that black people are supposed to be seeing, Boys in the Hood. She played Trudy in The Harder They Fall, and I love that movie, right? And she did great. You stay. The rest of your men can go. But yeah, Trudy was a real one. She was like, y'all got it. The Harder They Fall is on Netflix. Y'all got to check that out. That's a good star cast. Jonathan Majors, Regina King, Idris Elba, a whole lot of just, oh man, check that movie out. But anyway, but she's won Emmys and Academy Awards and Golden Globes. But just tell you why she's not discussed enough to be amongst the names of the greatest. You know what I'm saying? She's done so much, and I just love it. I love everything she does, and I just appreciate what she gives to us as a culture and as just a people. Miss Regina King, thank you so much. Her role in Ray, awesome. She was one who was like, don't care if you do, cause it's understood you ain't got no money, you just ain't no good. Yeah, Regina King, great. The first movie I ever saw her in that I completely just fell in love with her was directed by Martin Lawrence. This is another one of the movies where you have to see it if you're of a specific ethnicity. And I know a lot of people probably hear me saying, like, oh, but I mean, it is. There is a thing. And this one it's a thin line between love and hate. Great movie. Martin Lawrence. Bobby Brown's in that movie. Just randomly thought I would tell you that. But yeah, that's, good movie. Regina King. Underappreciated. Thank you so much. And last on my list, right, I'm going to say Jeffrey Wright. If you have no idea who I'm talking about, then that is my point. Jeffrey Wright was Commissioner Gordon in The Batman with Robert Pattinson. He's the leader of, not the Fireflies, I can't remember the rogue group that he's in charge of on The Last of Us TV show. He's in American Fiction. He's in The Hunger Games, Cadillac Records, Muddy Waters in the Cadillac Records, I believe. And he's in the 007 series with Daniel Craig. And he's also in Source Code and Westworld. And he's also in Boardwalk Empire. But the one that got me, right, Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson. Like, he's done other stuff, right? He was in Marvel's What If as the voice. He's the overseer, the watcher, or something like that. But he's the one with the big head who just watches people. But him and Shaft, that was my first introduction to him. And for the longest time, I did not know dude was I didn't know he was just black. I thought he was Puerto Rican. If you watch Shaft, the first one with Samuel L. Jackson, he goes, "Hey, this worth more than half your paycheck. 223. This is Egyptian cotton." You gotta watch the movie, right? His name is Peoples Hernandez in Shaft, and I thought dude was truly Puerto Rican. And then turns out he's just light skinned black. And it threw me. It was so wild to me because I'm watching. I'm like, hey, that looked like Peoples Hernandez. Like, that is Peoples Hernandez. That's crazy. It was him. The range and commitment he has for his movies and roles, he definitely deserves more flowers than what he gets. And I hope one day the world appreciates him as much as they should, as much as I do at least. Because dude is awesome. Jeffrey Wright is fantastic. And, I think about him in Batman and Robert Pattinson. He goes, yeah. Oh man, I don't know, but Jeffrey Wright. That's what I'll put as my number 5 on underappreciated actors. So yeah, but I thank you all for joining me. Right, that is the conclusion of the show. But I do want to get some opinions. What do y'all want to hear next? Do y'all want to hear top 5 best actors to me, top 5 comedic actors, top 5 action movies? You know what? We're going to do that. I'm going to do my top 5 action movies, and then I'm going to do some more recommendations on movies that a lot of people haven't seen or, just unappreciated. That's what we'll do. We're going to do top 5 action movies. And again, this is to me, my top 5 action movies. Please go ahead and give me y'all's top 5. And we're gonna put them in there. If you put them in the comments, I'm going to say them out on the thing. I'm like, hey man, so it says 300 is his favorite action movie. And then there are going to be categories, right? Because talking about this, action movies have subcategories. So you have comedic action movies like The Do-Over. Is it with Adam Sandler and David Spade? Or what's the one with Kevin James where he's an assassin, but he's just writing a book, but it's not really him? That's comedic action. When I do mine, I just bit my tongue. We're going to do legitimate action. Top 5, just pure, this is blown up for no reason type action. Like, your sole existence is to just be him or her. So we'll do that. My top 5 true action. And then, we'll go subcategories if we really need to. And then we'll do top 5 best action heroes. A lot of people got opinions on that, and I can't wait to hear it. But before the episode comes out, you know what I'm saying? When you see this, tell me, what do you think? Your top 5 action movies, top 5 action heroes, top 5 underrated and underappreciated actors. Let's get it, chat. Let's see where we can go with this. Let's see how far we can take it, because there's a lot that can go on in this. And I'm hoping, praying that y'all, link in, tap in with me, get on YouTube, comment, give me recommendations. You know what I'm saying? Weigh in, give me your opinions, talk to me. Get on my TikTok, pop up on the TikTok, and check out the reels and the little shorts and everything. iHeartRadio, Spotify, give me a listen, give me a watch, give me a chance. All right. I'm very passionate about movies, more so than I was about wrestling. And I haven't forgotten about the military aspect of the show. Like I said, the drill sergeants are trying to, be done with their trail in their phases. Some are PCSing, so we hopefully get word from them. But until then, we're going to talk about movies, and I can do this all day. Speaking of movies, Mandalorian and Grogu coming out May 22nd. Looking forward to that one. Gonna go watch that one and see if Star Wars has reignited my faith in them, or if it's still let down. But I think anything that Pedro Pascal does is going to be gold. I'm going to be a Pedro Pascal fan no matter what. So, yeah. I don't care if it's good or bad. I'm going to enjoy it. If there's anything you all want to have on the show, message me. Right? Like I said, I want this to be back and forth, interactive. Information you want, opinions you want, just whatever. Yeah, get at me. All right, hit me up. But other than that, I really appreciate you. I thank you all so much for joining me, for tapping in with me. Thank you all so much, chat. I'm trying to use these new terminologies, this new lingo that people use. My son tells me I'm mad lame, but he can't beat me up. So what's he gonna do? I'd invite him to challenge me about trial by combat, but yeah, it ain't gonna turn out well. But as always, you can catch me on Spotify, like I said, YouTube. I have a TikTok. You can see me on iHeartRadio. Well, not so much see me, but you can hear me on iHeartRadio. You can hear me on Deezer. I'm going to check out Deezer because I really don't even know what that is. And my Instagram. And this is Some of Everything, the podcast. And my name is Xavier Marshall. With all that being said, thank you again for being with me in this time that we've had together. Be safe. Be good to each other.